Come on in the room. Whoa. Come on in this room. Whoa. He's my savior and hi Brittany, washed my sins away. And he bring me all of my medicine in this room. Hi Brittany and Mocha Drop. I am Miss Ricks. I am Mrs. Ricks, excuse me. Divine Designs by Angie. Oh, happy Sunday to you. Torre. How you doing, brother? Fraser Laurie and Cheryl Burnett. Everybody's here. Okay. Well, happy Sunday to you guys. Listen, I need to come on here and apologize. Now, it's become, y'all know I've been chopping up this dude. What's his name? I can't remember the motherfucker's name. Is it, what's the dude's name? Morehouse. Is it Morehouse? I've been chopping him up. The dude, Whitehead. Thank you, Brittany. Blame it on the age, honey. White House, I've been tearing his ass up for 3 days, right? He's been a trending story. And I've also been tearing up the place that he calls his place of worship, right? I've talked about the sidewalks, the front end, the back end. I've talked about this backdrop. I said all these things about this man's church, right? And the reason I've done that is because this man has presented that as being his church. Every other word that he says is my church, what they did to my church. You talking about my church. You say that about my church. Never once has he indicated that actually he doesn't have a church. See, the lies go on and on and on. And I told that man, people are going to start taking a closer and closer look at you. So first of all, the lady's name is a business owner's name is Stacy Ann. She's an event planner, and that building that we saw is her event center. Now, we saw a lot more of it today, and I believe it's still being shown on King Jive's channel. It really is not even a tacky place, right? Our criticism was because we thought we were talking about a church. A church traditionally is a beautiful place, right? It is the beacon of the neighborhoods, shall we say. And so when we saw this man in this building that didn't look like a church, we talked about him. And I apologize to you, Stacy Ann, and I hope this mess has not affected your business. I have a theory. I think that the reason why Whitehead, what's his name? White House has been took his press conference in front of a neighboring church is because she probably would not allow him to do that in front of her building because it would bring negative publicity onto her building. And we'd be thinking, oh, she got a ramshackle place and all that. But the place is not ramshackle. As a matter of fact, the place is not even small. I saw pictures of this same space being used as someone's 16th birthday. It was huge. I saw pictures of it being used for various events. It is an event space. So basically, White House, what's his name? White House. Whitehead has just been renting that space. So one has to wonder, how are you going to raise enough money to buy a city block in New York when you don't even have a church? Where have you been operating in all this time, right? He has nothing. And he is a deceiver because with all this publicity, he never once intimated that was not his church. So why was he defending it so ardently? Because it wasn't a church. It was a screen set up in a corner of an event place. He wanted to present it as a church. That's why he never showed anything off of that backdrop, which is basically a banner, 2 banners, right? So yes, we talked about it because it never existed. It's all done with smoke and mirrors. So please accept my apology, Stacy Ann. Ain't nothing wrong with your building. If I were going to a party or some kind of event, it would be great. You ain't got to have no outside structure or anything like that. Her building, her business is upstairs, and then she has this huge empty space. It's like a loft, right? All white, and then you come in, and then you can do whatever you want to do with it. I guess she charges people to perform pretty elaborate events. If y'all want to see it, go to this to Jive's. I think he called that video number 2. I was amazed. I said, why was he backing us over in that corner when that space is huge? It's a huge space, right? But no, he was only using the tiny corner to deceive people that he actually had a church. I can't believe how many times he said, my church, my church. They said that about my church. You laughing at my church. You laughing what happened in my church. Granted, people, the early Christians met in each other's homes, right? So I guess each group of people back in the 1900s or whatever that took place, they could call themselves a church, even though they were just a body of believers that could be anywhere, right? He didn't present that. He presented that he had a church. As a fact, he tried to present it as he has a mega church. Trying to find some way to explain all of these riches, these cars, and all this stupid clothing and all the jewelry, all that shit is all supposed to come out of his church, right? But it's strange because he doesn't have a church. He doesn't. He can throw them 2 banners up anywhere, child. When they had the event, they moved the podium outside. That's probably the only thing he owned is that and the 2 damn banners, right? Now, I don't know if she has storage where she rents chairs or something like that. So she needed 25 chairs, and that's what they rented on Sundays. But Whitehead, look at the deceiver, though. Why are we just getting this? And we're going to get more, Whitehead. It's over, baby. Yes, it's over. Call it a day. He was using that tiny corner because he only had 10 members, right? If there were people there, he would have panned the audience. We would have seen something. But no, we always saw was him and the one guy to the side, 2 banners, and that's essentially it. He took a sheet to cover up the access to try to make himself a makeshift church, right? To rip people off and to provide a front. Y'all know what a front is, right? This is how I explain my income. This is how when I get out of prison and people want to know what I do or why I got all this stuff. It's for my church, my church, my church, my church. How could you be a bishop without a church? Anybody can call themselves a pastor, a minister, right? You can go any church. If you want to work, you want to do something at the church, they call you a minister. Minister of music, children's minister, various kinds of ministers, things like that, right? But to come out of prison and be a bishop with no church at all, no flock, no following. Even when we saw the press conference, if you had loyal supporters, there would have been somebody there. It appeared to be that most of the black people that were there were just passing by. What's going on? Right? They saw a couple of people, him standing in front of the thing, but he wouldn't even explain why he was standing in front of someone else's building. Obviously, the woman said no. Ain't no way. Ain't no way will I be a part of your scam. Number one, you ain't paying me enough to go to prison or jail. Ain't no way. There ain't no way. Ain't no way. Hey. He needed other players. His whole setup consisted of 3 people. So how are you presenting as you a mega preacher? And he says that the people are saying all these bad things about him because of his fame. What fame? Anybody heard of this dude before 5 days ago? So this could also be part of a clout chase. His ego is so huge. He feels like he's on top of the world now. He says the whole world's watching him now, right? He doesn't realize that's for a couple of days until they put the bracelets on, the handcuffs. We're not going to, whatever we say on YouTube is not going to affect what happens with the federal government. Apparently, this raid on your house, which you refuse to show, was actually real. They really did come and knock on your door, right? They really did take your equipment. See, this is the information age. People use their machines, right? So apparently the Fed felt that there was something in your phones, and they came and they took them. I don't know if they took computers, laptops, or whatever they took. That's all real. This thing here is smoke and mirrors. So why did you come out and say that ain't my church? No, you wanted to continue the facade of the deception that you actually had a church. 25 people gathering together, even though the Bible say whatever 2 or more gathered, 25 people gathered in a rented space in a corner of a rental of a event center. That's not a church. That's a front. How y'all doing? So I tend to ramble on. So please accept my apology, Stacy Ann. There's nothing wrong with your business. It looks like a thriving business. It looks like a good space for what it's intended to be. When we go to a nightclub, we don't care about the outside of the nightclub, right? We go in, and the event takes place inside the building. Correct? So what your outside looks like, it doesn't make any difference. Essentially, I've been to New York many times, honey, and many times the entrance to the club is just a doorway, right? So it's not even a small space. Pimp Daddy, he didn't think this all the way through. So if he feels like the whole world's watching him, and he feels like it's a good thing, and he feels like he is now proven to the world and to the Fed and to the IRS that he was robbed, that's why he kept the cameras on him for the entire time. And immediately after the service, he said the service was streamed, live stream. That wasn't part of the plan. You know it's going to be part of the plan. When you lay down, you know it's part of you were live stream. Are you going to pretend, Mr. White House or Whitehead, that you didn't realize that you were still live streaming when you laid down as the people walked into the building, already on the ground by the time people got to whatever the front part was? I guess it wasn't even a stage. It's just one person, John. Whatever. Yeah, I know people will say, well, why aren't y'all gonna get off this story? Y'all been talking about him all week. Well, no, it's a week, honey. I have a feeling it's not over, child. It ain't over, baby. But that amazed me, though, to see what that thing is. And I couldn't understand, why is this man standing in front of somebody else's church, particularly when the church is ramshackle. Everything he does, aside from putting on stuff on his personal body, is trash. He could have easily went, if he wanted to do that, go rent a space in a real church. They rent spaces. Churches are struggling, honey. Many churches are having a hard time. So they gladly rent space to you. You just do your service after their service. When their service is over, or in one of their other rooms, child. But no. And then when you wanted to have a press conference, you ain't going to step 5 feet outside of your door to deceive us one more time. Like that wasn't going to come out. It came out in one day, sir. The fact that you don't actually have a church at all came out in one day. Now, here's this other thing. You know, we all get all kind of information, right? Someone being nosy, moseyed on over there to check out them credentials, because from the beginning, I was saying these credentials are very suspicious. This bishop thing offends me so much. I don't know why. It just does. And apparently, you were ordained in prison. Is that your affiliation, sir? You were ordained in prison, and they named you a bishop inside the prison. And so you came out, and then in these last years, you've been out of prison 9 years, and you have still yet to procure any type of building at all. Yet you have the material trappings of somebody who's making millions, right? I mean, how dumb a hustler can you be, sir? You've used religion to con these people out of their money. You got people coming up now. They're in Florida. That's 200. Somebody gave. I can't imagine giving somebody like you. You must have dressed it down that day. Somebody like you, obviously a charlatan, over $200,000. That was Florida. Somebody in the was a symphony somewhere, some other guy who has some money in New York, he gave you his money over $100,000. This woman, she's into you for $90,000. You ain't paying nobody shit. You wouldn't even get this woman $100. But we're supposed to respect you, right? Even though every time you cry off camera. Sir, you're not a very good hustler. All you had to do is go down there and pay probably 59 cents for an onion. You put the onion on your finger. When you cry, you put it up to your eye and the tears will flow. That's all you had to do. You couldn't even invest less than $1 in your little scam, right? You couldn't invest anything in a church or a building. You gave us some kind of fantasy about you own a city block and you about to move your church. How are you going to move a congregation of 25 people into a mega church that takes up a whole goddamn city block in New York City? It doesn't make any sense. Yesterday, somebody said, well, why didn't he film from in front of the new site? If there is a new site, wouldn't that be more of what you want to show to the world? No, because it doesn't exist. Let me see what's going on with the darlings. I didn't do nothing at all today. I laid up on my ass. I did something. I forget what it was. Oh, I'm writing this new book. That does give me joy, believe it or not. Okay. I'm sorry we're talking about your city for a whole week, Torre. Whitehead. The whole world knows him. He's well known for they after him for his celebrity. They ain't for no celebrity. If any fool is driving around in the ghetto in a goddamn Rolls Royce truck, of course they're gonna look. They don't because they know who you are. It's because what the fuck is that car doing here, child? I'm alone. So it sticks out. Hell, if a red Ferrari pulls out in front of a building, I ain't looking at you, nigga. I'm looking at the car. And you feel like you're famous. So if this is what you would want, if this is what you wanted, caption on my new book. When going viral means everything. Is it a coincidence? Came out the same day. You start this shit the same day I released the book, child. Supposed to be positive on Sunday. Supposed to be singing spiritual hymns. Never would have made without you. I would have lost it all. But now I see how you were there for me, and I can say I'm stronger, I'm wiser, I am better, so much better. Mr. Whitehead, these gang members that you have saved their souls, where did you save their souls at? You've been out of prison 9 years. You have not procured a building. And you said you saved all their souls and the rappers' souls. And you saved, who else you saved? 50 Cent. You saved 50 Cent's soul. Where did you save his soul at? I'm just curious. Sir, even if you were trying to start a church and all that, you should be able to have gotten something together by now. It's been 9 years. How long have you been telling these people that you got a building on the other side of town, right? We already know you're a liar and a con man, right? So why would we believe that with no evidence of that? You've had a whole week. Shouldn't that property have been broadcast by now? You wouldn't be ashamed of where you're going to move into, would you? That doesn't make any sense, right? And you still came out here for the whole week talking about your church, my church. They laughing at my church. They talking about my church. How could you take offense at your church if you don't have one? It doesn't make any sense. You're still oh, what a tangled web you weave when you practice to deceive. More is coming out, sir. Unless you just don't give a damn anymore. Maybe you say, well, hell, I'm going to prison. I already been sentenced. They got all, Ain't no way I can beat this case. So fuck it. What difference does it make? I'm gonna be famous if it kills me. What's all that background noise? I have the window open because it's kind of hot today. Well, it's muggy. So I have the window open, and my apartment is right over the San Francisco subway. In other words, the subway, when it comes out from underneath the ground, you know how they be up for a little bit? I sit right there at that corner. So if you hear sounds, that's the train. Mm-hmm. Okay. Did you see the Tasha K interview? Yeah, I saw her. She was trying to be nice to him. I would much rather him have a hard-hitting interview. But she was trying to be understanding and yet get the story out. She actually is pretty good at interviewing, right? These type of people. But she wasn't, she was trying to agree with him quite a bit, see his side of the story. It was too softball for me, right? He's gonna make the mistake of going somebody who really does want to interview him. She's trapped because he's given her the interview. She don't want him to leave or cut it off or anything like that. But it's very, but it's still even that. So many lies were exposed, right? And the thing about all these cars and all this kind of stuff, that is what got him locked up the first time. He was buying these cars on other people's credit. Now, sir, you may say, well, what do you say? There was donations to the church and all that kind of. How insulting to black people. You don't do our women like that, right? And then identity theft is one of the fastest growing crimes in the city, right? I mean, in the country. When you steal someone's identity and go and buy them a car worth more than twice as much as their house, right? And then they're stuck for that amount so they can work it out, right? But do we know that they're even able to work it out? The amount of stress people spend trying to clean up their identity again or take back their identity. Apparently, he worked for some business, or the woman he was with worked for some business. They got people's credit card information. People, pay attention. If you don't trust these motherfuckers, do not give them your credit card information. And they used that information and created stole the person's personality and started buying stuff with their stuff, right? Now we can imagine that if they bought actual high-end vehicles, they also spent money, thousands and thousands of dollars, Amazon, all of these, I don't know. They spent a lot of money, right? He seemed to have no compassion for the victims. He said, well, so what if I fuck your life off? So what if his woman spent her life savings? How can you say to a person who is giving you their life savings to invest in a home for themselves? How can you say to that person, oh no, I'm keeping that as a donation to my political campaign, which was going nowhere? To my political, no. You took my money and you went and bought property for yourself, or these ridiculous cars, right? Now, we don't know that these cars are paid for. I can't even imagine what the car payment on a $500,000 car is, right? You went and did all this crazy shit, child. You went and bought all this stuff. It seems like you spent every dime. As fast as you got it, you spent it. That's what it is. You were nigger rich, right? They thought they were investing. You took the money and you got overwhelmed and you spent the money, right? Because all that shit that you did to get in prison, it was not off of you yet. You saw an easy dollar. Listen, when I was in the streets, I was a drug dealer. I had stacks of money, right? That was the first thing I had to get over. You're not getting no more stacks of money, nigga. It's not gonna be like that not ever again. No more hustling. No more crime. No more drugs. You have to give it up. If you haven't given up anything, you're not delivered. You're not delivered if you're out here robbing these old ladies for all of their money. You know how long it takes to save up $90,000, child? Expensive as that city is, you have to let it go. I had to give up a whole lot of shit. I had to give up sex, number one. I might want my old ass. I said, oh, you ain't got nothing? You got something? I'm going to see you later. Mm-hmm. Give it up, baby. Give it up. Ain't no use. You couldn't help yourself if you wanted to. You got to give up the bling bling. You got to give up trying to be rich when you're not rich. You want to buy stuff, you say, oh, he said, oh, I was poor. I didn't have a father. I didn't have a father because they killed my father. Girl, probably 70% of us didn't have a father. What the fuck is that? He's saying that like it's supposed to be some special kind of testimony. I didn't have a man to teach me how to be a man. Well, me too. That don't mean you have to be a criminal, sir. And you're going to talk your ass right back into the pen. Now, here's what's going to happen. Since you already been a convicted criminal, and let's face it, you got out on a technicality. It ain't because they commuted your sentence. Oh, that's coming. That's coming. No, what you mean it's coming? In 9 years, it ain't came yet. You can see it coming in the air tonight. It ain't shit coming. If it was going to come, it would have been here by now. Communion, what do you call it? Commission, whatever. You got out on a technicality. Simple as that, right? You went right back to the streets and you became a criminal. You learned the art of the religious scam in prison, and you may very well have believed that you were called. You could have believed that, but obviously, what you see, what the fruit that you're bearing is that of a criminal. You're still a criminal. You still have that get over spirit, right? You still have that flash in you. A man in ministry should not be concerned with flash, big diamonds, and all this kind of stuff. You're trying to dress like you TD Jakes. Now, thankfully, TD Jakes does not crave all this ridiculous material shit that you crave, right? But if he wanted it, he could buy it. Creflo, they can buy it. They can afford it. I'm grateful they don't torment my eyeballs by looking at it, but they could do it. But you, what is your income? You say real estate. Everybody's eyes pop open when you say real estate. What do you do in real estate exactly? It sounds like to me what he laid out was exactly what he did to this woman. He takes advantage of these poor people who've got fucked up credit. He offers them, he says, I can get you in a property, right? But instead of paying 5% interest like you would have paid to a traditional bank, I'm going to charge you 10%. So almost 2.5 times as much you're going to pay, right? But he doesn't even do that because when he sees the money, his eyes go sparkly, he goes crazy, and he wants to go buy a new bracelet. He wants to go buy an additional Rolex. He's just spending it as fast as he's getting it. Imagine there is an element of the Ponzi in there as well. The Ponzi schemes means that if I promise this woman, can you believe he promised her $100? I don't know what she was doing with that. Perhaps he was saying, well, this is how much interest you were getting. I'll just keep giving you that money. Although I think that you still get more than $100 on $90,000. Whatever. The Ponzi element is you get all these people's money, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? But you promise these people you're going to get 1,000 a month, you're going to get 800 a month, you're going to get, right? And you keep paying it out. But actually, that's only because you pulled in another sucker and you took a little bit of that money and paid them, right, to keep it going. That's a Ponzi scheme, right? Because as far as I can tell, you don't own shit. You don't own shit. I don't think you own a $500,000 car. I think you're scamming about cars just like when we found you. When you stepped off the elevator, that's how you went to prison the first damn time. Wasn't one of your first major schemes that got you busted. You went out and bought a motorcycle on somebody else's credit. Fuck the family, whoever you destroyed, right? And then the following scheme was he was riding around in a stolen, I think it was it wasn't a Hummer, one of them other big cars. He was riding around in a stolen truck. They say it's stolen because it was bought by somebody else's credit, right? So you're doing the same thing. You didn't let it go, and it's going to destroy you now. So while you think you're being famous, you're being a fool. Benny, you a fool to cry. Temporary place. A temporary, no, they don't temporary place. That place can be purchased. You can have a party for your daughter there on Friday night. They'll break that down on Saturday night. They can have an event where someone's christening. Next time, they can have a teenager party. It's an event space. The woman is an event planner, from what I could tell of the little bit I've seen of her today. She is an event planner. You say you want a big 50th wedding anniversary, then they all break it all down. And what is the theme you want? Oh, you are in the Navy and you want a Navy theme, and then they put a Navy theme in there, right? For your big party. Because when I saw, they're not cheap parties either. I mean, she has she does pretty elaborate events there. She can, because it's a huge event. I mean, it's a huge space, event space. He don't own no parts of that. I doubt that he even rents the place out. I think he just goes in a little corner because that place is huge. He ain't got no congregation, and yet he's presenting himself like he's a mega pastor and everybody knows him and he's famous. Famous for what, sir? And frankly, you can't even preach. I wasn't inspired, girl. There were no hallelujahs coming out of me. Looking at you. So I imagine every day is gonna be another trickle, something else come out. I'm gonna try not to let this dude take over my whole channel, but I know how I am when you get your teeth in something, right? And there is definitely flies in the soup, baby. Mm-hmm. Pimp on pulpit. He going back to jail. That's all right. What's that? What did say? He come up hard, baby, but not a cool. He didn't make it sugar, playing by the rules. He come up hard, but that's okay, cause trouble, man, don't get in his way. Hey. Or we can hit him with, who is the man that will risk his neck for brother, man? Whitehead, damn straight. You see that cat, Whitehead, is a bad mother. Shut your mouth. But I'm talking about Whitehead, and he can dig it. He's a complicated man, but nobody sass him but his woman. Whitehead fly. Dumbass. Okay, Whitehead, let me ask you the other question since I'm here. Whitehead, here's the next question. I want to know, where is that office that you're at? When you film, the majority of the time, if you're not in front of those two banners, you're sitting, actually, you have the same chairs I have, but you're sitting in an office that is covered with all kinds of, they're not degrees, certificates on the wall and all that, as if you were sitting in the office of an actual church. So since this place is an event, they're not going to have an office for you in their space, right? It looks like a big empty white space. So I'm trying to ask you, where is that office? Is this something you have set up in your house? Or is this another little what do you call them? Vignette, right? That you use to deceive the people? I'm just asking. Where is it at, sir? Hmm? Okay. A nuclear bomb could explode next to Uncle Tim's apartment, and Uncle Tim still wouldn't acknowledge it. What happened now? What I do now, Goonies? Oh my God! Oh, Goonies is down on me about my reading, I guess. Let me see. Ooh, there's a lot of y'all in here. So yes, I did see Tasha K interview. I didn't have a big takeaway from it. I felt like she was throwing him softballs, which she had to do in order to get the interview. You know, I thought she did a decent interview. And then he was still talking about my church. He didn't not one time say to her that actually they keep talking about my church, but that's not my church. He could have easily said that. The truth would have been so much easier. This is a space I rent for making YouTube videos. I don't even think he even have service there. He sits there in front of that screen and make video, like just like here, like I'm making right now, right? We could have accepted that if that was the truth. But when you lie, when first you practice to deceive, right? Over the tangled web you weave. Now you got people uncovering things. You're standing beside another church. It's not your church. You think that even though people can see another man's face behind you, even though it's been destroyed, they can still see. That's not the name of the place you say is your church. And why did you make your name so similar to that church? Because you're both claiming to be international. Well, is that just Brooklyn? I mean, I would think that a person who has an international ministry would have more than 25 people in their Sunday service, right? Then you're accused of buying subscribers. They're saying you claim to have millions of subscribers, but then you only got 40 people in the chat, right? So it's all so interesting to watch. Maybe I should do another book just about you, sir. I guess I'm not big enough. They don't come be mad at me. They'd be mad at Larry Reed and King Jives. They are the church people. Mm-hmm. This man doesn't even seem to have anything to do with the church. Nothing. I think out of that whole New York is the biggest city in the United States of America, right? San Francisco has got 850,000 people in San Francisco, and it's considered a big city, big city in a small space. 800,000. New York City's got 8 million, right? During the day, it's got between 20 and 30 million people come into New York City to work. This is how big this area is. And you can't find one minister who's to support you. No, not one. Particularly since you set this event up for pastors, right? This was the rally was for. Not one person wants to be involved with you, sir. You are delusional. And perhaps psychiatry could help you, because in your mind, you're riding around in Rolls Royces thinking because you bought a Rolls Royce, that makes you successful. It doesn't. They're just looking at the car, sir. Like in that movie, y'all see that movie, Sunset Boulevard? And Nora Desmond, she was this old has-been movie star. She used to be real grand in silent movies. And so Cecil B. DeMille called her into the studios, right? And she pulls up into the studios in this long stretch Rolls Royce with the it kind of had the convertible in the top and it's covered in the back. It had leopard skin on the inside and all that. She pulls this onto the studio, right? And she thinks, oh, DeMille, oh, I love you, my darling. It's been ages. I'm ready to do my next film. It's going to be great. It's going to be wonderful. And all this kind of drama, right? And then when she gets back home, she finds out that her butler, who used to be her husband, tells her that the studio called, right? And she's all excited, right? Now, this is a woman, they got to hide the razor blades from her because she's on the verge of always killing herself, because she can't accept reality. She lives part in reality and part out, right? And then Max has to come and tell her, Madam, they want the car. So she thought they were calling her to the studio because she's so famous and fabulous and big movie star. No. She had a very unusual Rolls Royce. And so the point was, they just want the car. They're just looking at the car, Whitehead. It's hard to ignore somebody who's sitting up there with $400,000 worth of shit drape all over them, girl, to go to the market, honey. 2 and 3 deals. You must be a real estate mogul. You got 2 and 3 deals running, honey, and each one of them has there's no evidence of anything actually being accomplished, right? You still ain't putting nobody in the house. That's your ploy, right? You appeal to minorities, people would have a bad credit, and you tell them that you can get them in a house, but they're going to have to pay 2.5 times as much for the house, right? And then people will come in there, and the moment you hear they got money, you lose your goddamn mind. Because now it's not enough just to get their little down payment. You want it all. And that's what you did to those people. And you're going to pay, sir. You brought on too much heat on yourself. They're looking at everything now. They got even ex-police officers just looking into your case just for sport. Just for something to do. The feds will investigate for years. Well, they said they were at his house 3 months ago. I don't know why the federal government wanted to be interested in my cell phone. Wired transfers, perhaps. How do you become a bishop in prison? I don't know, girl. It's starting to look like a lot like that. He certainly got some kind of certificate inside prison. Now, y'all know I've been in prison, and they do have various kinds of training there. You can go there. You can become an X-ray technician, right? There's several things. You can go and learn woodworking. They got a woodworking shop, right? And you can get involved with the church. So I don't know what kind of programs they have available to him, but it really ain't that hard to become a pastor. Anybody calls himself a pastor, right? Wherever two or more gather, I guess that's your congregation, child. There's no evidence of any congregation at all. But it sounds like when he's talking about it so passionately, he actually believes this shit. He actually believes that he is a bishop. Now, if you are just starting out in ministry, why would you buy this great big old gaudy cross like you've been in ministry for 50 years? You want the appearance of being a bishop. You got a huge ass bishop's ring. Are you supposed to buy that for yourself? It seems like something that your church would award to you. A bishop's ring. Do bishops, people in ministry, really go out and buy their own bishop's ring and their own bishop's cross? I'm seeing ceremonies where they place something on your neck, right? Because you're the bishop of the church, an organization. From my understanding, a bishop of a church should be in charge of more than their own church, right? Particularly if it's only 25 people. That's not a bishop, right? I believe that a bishop is like a regional manager where other ministries are feeding into the bishop. Maybe they even bless him with a little token or something. I don't know how it all works, but it doesn't make any sense. This man has no congregation. He has no physical building, and he has nothing. He has nothing to indicate that he's a bishop except for the jewelry, right? I wouldn't even put all that junk on my wall. Aren't you afraid somebody's going to actually go and look and say, well, where are the actual degrees that you went to school, right? Are these just prison certificates? I'm just saying. Baby, if you pass out bologna sandwiches for a year, they'll give you a certificate. Any church. I got certificates in my building right now. 17 years of service for free. Here you go. You get a piece of paper. It costs about $1.26. Coming a bishop in prison. But now, in prison, though, a lot of people get really into the church, right? So he might have had a small group of people who met with him when he was in prison. They start calling him pastor and all that kind of stuff. I remember I used to see this guy when I first became a baby Christian, and there was this guy, we called him preacher, and we met in the rec hall, and when everybody else was playing table tennis or whatever, he would be over in the little group, but the little group was never more than 6 people, right? Just a few people get together to read the word and pray together. Now you could have done that. You had 5 years to do it, right? I like the background noise. Y'all can really hear it, huh? Yeah. What about that background noise? Hey, ding dong. Be quiet. I shouldn't have this shirt on, really. It's just too hot. The weather's just not changing. It's been this crazy man outside the window. He's been hollering, screaming all day, taking his clothes off. And then the people in the train station, they have a little station here for their breaks. They keep going out to try to run him away, right? But he won't leave. He take his pants down and start peeing right in front of him. I thought San Francisco was a mess, but I see that it's all over the country. All this homelessness, homelessness, it breeds a lot of stuff. And a lot of the drug addiction is not because they're drug addicts is why they're homeless. They became drug addicts because they are homeless. It's a hard life, honey. How do you get out of the reality of sleeping on the sidewalk? You get high. And before long, you're hooked. So you never know how much of it is mental illness, and a lot of it is just addiction to drugs. Heroin addicts, they nod out all day, and their body is crippled and all this kind of stuff. But these meth addicts, which is what I was, they become very psychotic. When people are talking to themselves and all this shit, beating up poles and all that. Those are really normal people that have gotten hooked on crystal meth. What y'all doing today? He also had 5 cell phones, like all drug dealers. He got 5 cell phones. Girl, I hope his boy ain't involved in drugs. I don't know. That's alleged. Allegedly. I can't think of how else you gonna get with these big stacks of money. It didn't come from that church. That's a disgrace. Why he keep talking about the church? My everything is come out of his mouth about my church. Every single question asked of him by the press that showed up at his press conference, every question was about him ripping these people off about the money. Yet he doesn't address any of those questions. Everything go back to, you do it to my church. My church got to stand up. My church. And then you don't even tell the people, maybe basically, I don't have a church. I don't have a church. I bring my blankets. I pin them on the wall. And I talk for an hour. Right? I'm going to be honest about that. Nothing. No indication at all. But I want to thank you, Mr. Whitehead, for all this luscious content, because you have certainly given it up to America. You have kept the children. Yeah, that is not a bishop. That's a pastor. He ain't much different than Jay Wilson, except Jay Wilson is too stupid. He can't even organize 25 people, girl. Good reference. Thank you, Tabby Cat. The same thing, Jay Wilson. He is a bishop the way Jay Wilson is a pastor. He better hope that nobody goes to interviews, get an interview. I don't know how well that woman is doing, his ex-wife, but she's the one accused him of touching her boys and girls, her son and daughter. And the courts sided with her. They gave her full custody. He's been trying to get custody of the kids, but the courts are siding with her, right? And obviously, she hates his ass. So if anybody's going to tell the real truth, it's going to be not his current wife. She can't be compelled to testify against her husband, but the ex-wife, the one who hates him, the one who has been fighting him for custody. We don't know how true her accusations have been, but what we do know is that she can't stand his ass. And she knows a whole lot. Because whatever this man's been doing, he's been doing a long time. Because his current charges are not much different than his old charges before he went to prison. Right? I'm so grateful not to have that on me, honey. You can imagine happy and so greedy, so hungry that you go for cars and stuff like that, child. You're going to expose yourself like this. When you get to that gate, they're going to take everything off you and give you an orange jumpsuit. And from that point on, that's what you own. An orange jumpsuit and perhaps some work boots, because they might put your ass to work, and that's it. So it don't make no difference what kind of treasures you accumulate here or how much you think you're going to go and do 2 years and come out and have all this stuff because you've hidden it. Don't assume, honey. They can wash you up, sir. You already have a past record. They're always worse on people who have a past record, particularly for the same kind of financial crimes. You've already done it before. I think it's all pretty much always worse. I don't know people doing long bits and then getting out and come back and do little short bits then. No. Baby. Let me see. Would you please hit the like button? I sold Sister Number One. Y'all get my new novel? But y'all like to read. I think you enjoy it. Jabba, Jabba, Jabba. What is San Francisco looking like due to San Francisco monkeypox state of emergency explosion? I don't know. How you know Jabba, Jabba? That used to be my name. My name was Jabber. My name was Jabber in the streets. Shit, I almost forgot my real name. The only people I ever used my real name was the damn prison people. So it was a joy to go back to the real name. Now, what about monkeypox? I don't know anything about it. Why? Because I'm old, honey. I ain't having sex with nobody. I ain't touching nobody. Only one I touch is my dog. Right? And that's for the scratch. So I'm not worried about that one. The monkeypox. It is a nasty looking thing, though, ain't it? They showing these pictures of these people. I wouldn't want to be blessed with that one, honey. I don't got to worry about nothing venereal or nothing that involves being passed by touch, because I don't touch nobody. Oh, that should be enjoyable. Let me see what that is. Hold on, let me wipe my mouth off. My mouth feels like Whitehead. Where are you at? Customer service. Speaking of Jay Wilson, did you hear him yesterday boosting himself up yesterday because of what King Jive said yesterday? He boosted himself up. Okay. Then Sir King cussed Jay Wilson out. Yeah, I think I did see a little taste of that. He said that both of them are saying the other one wants Lemon. Now, y'all know Lemon is this fine young guy. Now, I got to say, if that picture he shows it is real, he certainly is a beautiful young man, right? But as far as we know, he is just friends with Sir King. Now, people have accused them of being more than that. I've accused Sir King of wanting the boy, but we're not getting any kind of indication that that's what's going on. A lot of people think that Sir King is not all that desirable. But who accused who of which one accused the other one? Sir King accused Jay Wilson of wanting Lemon. Then Jay Wilson over there acting like he needs Lemon needs to come over so he can show him how to have his own channel, like it's some brain surgery or something. I can show him how to be on your own. He don't need you. Why are you trying to break up other people's friendships, nigga? If they like each other, they get along. What does it got to do with you? So Jay Wilson trying to entice Lemon to come over to his channel. Each one is accusing the other one. Probably they both got a little thirst in them. Certainly, neither one of them would push Lemon out the bed. Let's just leave it at that. Is you the cussing preacher? I ain't no cussing preacher. I don't cuss. I cuss. I'm not a preacher, though. I'm just a person. I don't care what the hell they do. I don't think you not saying bad words is if you any more holy than anybody else, child. God is holy. All the rest of these people, they're just getting by. I don't say the B word. I don't say so you don't say the B word. Okay. What is that? Is it a ticket to heaven? I prefer them when they cuss myself. I like real people. That monster properly bona fide. Oh, you didn't put a comma there. Oh, you mistake. I write because I want to hear the writing just like people talk. That's it, girl. We don't all talk with perfect diction. We don't walk with perfect commas. No, that's not the way people talk, girl. I prefer real people myself. And that's the way I write. My characters don't sound just like on here. So if y'all think that the beef sector is disgusting, that's what you're going to get in my writing, because I'm writing about the beef sector, honey. It's just, it is what it is. When I was writing about the holy people, there were no cussing because they were holy people. Or so they thought, you know. But even them, y'all know how y'all carry on after church. Alonzo, is this the cussing preacher? No, I am not the cussing preacher. There's another man called a cuss. Just put in your search engine, cussing preacher, and you will not see a picture of Timothy Blaine. Lord, no. People call some of the most foolish things holiness. Ooh, did you say the D word? I mean, I can understand it on some level. I can understand it. These people, they're trying to raise these children, these badass boys and stuff, and they're trying to give them some kind of morality, so they ain't walking around, you know, cussing every other word. I can understand that, child. But as far as grown people, just let's be real. The jewelry is probably custom made with well, according to Larry Reed. Now, I'm not going to pretend to be an expert here, but they used to have a thing called cubic zirconia, right? And the thing about this cubic zirconia is that it would get cloudy. The diamonds, when you first got them, they'd be sparkly, and then soon after that, they would start getting cloudy, and that's how you could tell real diamonds don't change, right? You can crack cement with a real diamond, and the diamond is harder than the cement, so the diamond doesn't change. So what Larry Reed was suggesting, don't hate me, bro, is that the diamonds were cloudy, and the dude, White House, he didn't deny that Larry's diamonds were shinier than his. He said, well, if you think your diamond's better than mine, go ahead and think it, right? So if you are, let's say you are trying to collect insurance money. Now, wouldn't that be wonderful if you could claim insurance money on what is now, I mean, you take and you buy the real jewelry, you hide the real jewelry, then you have fake jewelry, and you get that robbed, right? But you get paid like it's real jewelry, because the real jewelry did exist at one time. A lot of wealthy white women do that. They have the real jewelry, and they have an exact replica of the real jewelry, right? And they can wear that for a few times before it turned cloudy, you know. So we don't know. More's going to come out. It's going to come out and come out and come out and come out. I guess he is enjoying all of this publicity he's getting. I don't know if he hates it or loves it. He's yelling and screaming like he hates it, but I'm starting to think that actually it's the opposite of that. He actually craves it, or part of him craves it, but he's bringing on the scrutiny of people he doesn't need to be scrutinizing his affairs, because it makes no sense. If you are making, you say you take no salary from the church, they can easily check how much you make from this so-called real estate where you haven't made any successful transactions. They can easily say, okay, you made $15,000 this year. How in the hell did you spend $3 million? You don't want to bring a certain amount of scrutiny on yourself, particularly if you're a criminal. And that mayor, you're going to push him into a place where he's going to have, in order to get the heat off himself, he's going to have to encourage investigations against you. Why? To clear himself, cover his own ass. Well, they're going to start looking at him. Why do you know this dude? Right? If he's a criminal, he's defrauding people. He's a real estate business. You're running the city. Come on, people. You have to get rid of him. That's why nobody showed up at the press conference. Isn't Al Sharpton? Doesn't he live there, New York? I'm sure they got thousands of preachers there. No, not one. And now to find out that he doesn't even have a church. It was rumored that Liz Taylor had her famous pieces copied. Yeah, I've heard a lot of them do that. Right, and they'll just wear the fake ones. They might have to get them made more than once because zirconia. I guess they have other kind of fake rocks. But people, when they're in groups where everybody's rich, they can tell real diamonds. But when you first get the fake ones, they do appear to be real, particularly if you have them copied by masters. All right, that's our jewelry lesson for today. So once again, I want to make sure I apologize to this lady, Stacy Ann. Stacy Ann, I'm sorry. I was talking trash about your building. It was not your building. We thought it was a church. That's what we were criticizing, right? So y'all go over there and support Stacy Ann. It looks like a good event place if you're going to have a big event. Later, people.